Well, we got a little treat for you right now. Let's listen to 1967. If you were tuned in around Christmas 1967, you might have heard this on the radio.
Yes, wir singen zusammen die Geschichte über den Schweinkopf, den Hund und den lieben Red Baron.
And that would be, of course, Chris Nunley kicking off the Snoopy versus Red Baron. And we have Chris Nunley on the phone. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
Much better. We're kind of in a drought situation here, but over the last couple of days, it finally got some rain. So,
oh man,
I know that's mundane chit chat, but it's
but
the fact.
You know what?
Yeah.
They say as you get older, you talk about the weather more, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it concerns you more. When you're a kid, you know, you don't care.
Oh, that's right.
It's like the best.
Hey, what's weather got to do with music anyhow, right? Except for song titles.
True.
So.
True.
Tell me, we're going to start off with talking about the Royal Guardsmen a little bit. So have you guys been performing at all during the pandemic?
Not as the Guardsmen. We've had a few Crossfire gigs, which is my local band in the Ocala, Florida area, but Guardsmen gigs have been few and far between, sadly.
I know, and hopefully things are starting to open up. They just relaxed the rules here at the Russell House at the university where I don't have to wear a mask since I'm fully vaccinated, so that's one good thing. I think we're starting to come out of this mess.
I think so, too. My wife and I both got our vaccinations. She had the Moderna, I had the Pfizer, but we both got our second shots by the third week in March, so it's kind of peace of mind thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so relieved to finally get mine, I tell you. So tell me about, what you've been doing. Well, actually, I want to go back a little bit to about 1970 here. You sent me a concept album called Home by a band called Mulligan. You remember the band. As a matter of fact, you were the lead singer of the band, were you not?
Well, yes, I was on some songs, and the keyboard guy, John Mosley, was the writer of most of the songs on that album, and did the lead vocal on some of those songs, too.
Yeah, so Chuck Emery was on guitar, Tommy Armistead on bass guitar, and then, of course, you were doing drums and vocals on the things, too.
Right.
And you and Mosley wrote the songs, right?
Yes, some were John Mosley solo creations that he had actually written back in the 60s, but had never recorded them. But a lot of those songs are just harmony vocals all the way through to lead and third above or fifth independent. What the song called for. Yeah,
exactly. But you had a unique recording experience with this. You recorded it in a cave?
Yes. It was in Independence, Missouri, just outside of Kansas City. And it was actually a recording studio that had been built inside of a limestone mine cave. And their logo said the cavern sound. And it was a lot of natural echo in the building. Well, you drove in through this big tunnel opening to the recording studio front door, and there's a lot of crushed limestone on the floor of the cave, which when you drove in a car, there's a lot of crunching going on of the tires. It was kind of a cool thing. So we said, well, why don't we do an album and put a bunch of these songs together and kind of give you the cave experience as you're coming into the studio.
And that's what you're listening to right now. You're hearing the band drive up.
Right.
And then you hear the cars close, the doors close.
John Mosley's 63 Rambler station wagon.
And you walk into the studio itself. I think this is so cool that you put this as a part of the intro to the album. And then you're going to hear some doors slam. And the beginning of the first song of the album comes up. Here comes Mulligan and Big Wide River. So there we go with Chris Nunley, that is, and Mulligan. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Pretty good old song. Hey, Chris, did that song ever get airplay?
It has gotten airplay on some college radio stations.
Guess what? It just did again. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool song. So this concept album is different from a regular album. There are no dead spots in the track. There's just one track on one side and the other track on the other side, and you kind of diddle around with your guitars and stuff like that. So that must have been kind of cool to record something like that. Did you do it all in one sitting, or did you do it and then have it put together in the editing room?
Yeah, we edited it together, but the session to cut the entire album was probably over a span of a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Couple of weeks.
This was a production studio that did things like church groups and ad spots for radio stations, and when they had a paid client coming in, we couldn't do any recording for our album, so we just had to work around their money.
Oh, yes.
Schedule. It was kind of a spec deal with the studio.
Yeah. Anyhow, but that album, unfortunately, is not available anywhere, is it?
No, it is not. There are a couple of cuts from the album that are on an album that I have right in front of me. I just went out and pulled it. It's called Local Customs. If you just Google local, L-O-C-A-L, Customs, C-U-S-T-O-M-S, and then a colon, Cavern Sound, C-A-V-E-R-N-S-O-U-N-D. That was the name of the studio. You should find some links to be able to check this album out. It's still available as far as I know. It doesn't have the complete album, the Mulligan Home album on it, but it does have a couple of cuts on it.
Well, let's take a second to go through the name of the cuts. So you had Big Wide River, side one's Big Wide River, I Will Be Leaving.
Big Wide.
Yes, Big Wide River, I Will Be Leaving.
Yeah.
Was It Me? Think Before You Leave, Angela, and In the Morning. And side two is From Death, Window Pane, Silver Clipper, Steamship, and High on a Hill. From Death is kind of an interesting sounding title. What's that all about?
Well, it's kind of a dark, it's literally what a message to you, the listener, from death.
Oh, wow.
It won't be so bad.
I'm going to come get you.
This is from a 20-something-year-old perspective.
Yeah. And, of course, at 20, you're immortal.
Yeah.
So,
10 feet high and bulletproof.
Yeah. We all felt that way back then. Did some crazy things when we were younger, but today, not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of us survived.
Yeah. So let's talk about what's coming up for you in the next little bit. Do you individually or with your other bands, personal bands, or with the Royal Guardsmen, do you have any dates coming up that you have scheduled right now?
I do have some approaching dates with my local band here in Florida. That group's called Crossfire. And there are a lot of bands out there named Crossfire. So to differentiate that, we've got a Facebook page that's called The Crossfire Band of Ocala. And that way you can get right to our page.
Yeah, which reminds me that you and I grew up listening to a certain radio station a long time ago.
Right.
I'm looking for something right now as we talk. But anyhow, so
WAPE.
WAPE, that's right. So if you wanted to book your band or book the Royal Guardsmen or however that works. Oh, I just found it. Here we go. I'm going to make you feel right at home here, okay?
Yeah, right.
Turn, don't burn, everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyhow.
That sound, if you're out in the sun, it's time to flop over
the other side.
For a while.
Yeah, you and me and Joe Pinner up here in Johnny Tillison, all from the same area.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, what's the name of the person that we can get in touch with to book you? And I'll just say that name, and we'll so that they know there is a person you can get.
Okay. She's no longer our agent, but her name is Lou Ann Hunt. She was our agent about 10 years ago and got us some real fun gigs out in Vegas and California. We played a place called Citrus College, which is a very interesting venue to play in. It's actually a theater.
Oh, wow.
with very steeply graduated seats, so you could see the entire audience. And while we were performing, it was
that kind of makes it real intimate too, doesn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much. You could, whatever you did, you could see immediately what the reaction was.
Mm-hmm. I guess the best thing to do is say if somebody is hearing this and they want to book you, get in touch with me. That's Rick Wrigley on Facebook, Wrigley, and or get in touch with Marvin Nunley on Facebook. Either one. Marvin is Chris's real first name, so he performed under the name Chris Hunley, but I don't know why I want to say Nunley. I'm thinking of the submarine right now.
There you go.
Yeah. So, Chris, you performed under the name Chris Nunley as in the Royal Guardsmen, but Chris is really your middle name.
Right. Well, I was named after my father's brother, Uncle Marvin. And my mother always liked Christopher, so that was my middle name. And growing up, everybody, my friends and schoolmates and everything, called me Chris, so, I'm used to that. But I just assumed, took on the mantle of Marvin, kind of like Kramer did when he said, I'm Cosmo.
Yeah, exactly. So, so the Royal Guardsmen, they get together every so often, though, right?
Yes. Let's see. Most recently, we played at a retirement community here in Florida called On Top of the World.
Uh-huh.
And also at Stone Creek.
Yeah.
We did a nice Christmas show there. We played in the villages at a place called the Savannah Center, which is a real nice first-class production type of a venue.
Did you?
A lot of national touring bands play at the Savannah Center.
Yeah.
Grassroots.
That's right. As a matter of fact, I'll be talking to Mark Dawson next week.
Oh, Mark, he's a great guy.
He is. Yeah. Anyhow, so you also played at a place called the Avenues, did you not?
I'm sorry. I'm breaking up a little.
I'm sorry. Didn't you also play at the Avenues?
The Avenues.
I don't. Maybe I don't mean the big retirement.
Maybe I'm losing it. I don't.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe that you had done that, but I guess that's me. That's me. I thought that, but maybe it's somebody else I know has played. Pardon me?
Where's the Avenues located?
Central Florida, just north of the Lake Okeechobee down there. Big retirement.
That's been a long time ago.
Big retirement community. I know that feeling. So the Royal Guardsmen will be playing again, hopefully sometime as we come out of this pandemic.
Right.
Marvin,
opening up a lot of performance venues that have sadly been closed for a year or more.
Mm-hmm. Marvin, thank you so much for taking the time and joining us for a little while this morning and sharing the history of that great old song. And
my pleasure, Rick. And call me Chris.
All right, Chris. I'm more used to calling you Chris anyhow after all the association from way back in the 60s and 70s. So, but yeah, it threw me. As a matter of fact, when we talked last time, it kind of threw me for a loop that you were using Marvin. I did not know that Marvin was your real first name. So. Anyhow,
it was kind of a flimsy excuse for having some kind of a Facebook security.
I know what you mean there.
I guess it backfired.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think everybody's kind of equated the two names now, so I think it's all good.
So, well, either you can call me either or. Just don't call me late for dinner.
All right. Hey, either. How are you doing? Or? I'm sorry, that was I just had to go there. Marvin Nunley, Chris Nunley, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning, and we'll talk to you sometime real soon.
Thank you, Rick. It's been my pleasure.